Interior Solutions. I don't know about you, but I have a problem with people who decorate for Christmas before Thanksgiving is even here. They seem to forget that there's a very important holiday between Halloween and Christmas. Everybody seems to decorate for Halloween, but for some reason we're forgetting to decorate for Thanksgiving, which is a very nice holiday. And it's all about family and great food and getting together and being thankful. So why not celebrate that and give it its time and give it its priority in our decor. So today I'm going to show you a few tips on how to set a table for Thanksgiving, or even just for the season if you just wanted to look kind of festive throughout the season. And the tips that I want to give you are pretty affordable, pretty accessible, and you could do it many different ways. I'm just going to give you some ideas and you can kind of run with them. And they're usually things that I've either picked up, either in the dollar store or inexpensive little stores, or things that I've gathered through the years, or even stuff that I've just gathered from the yard, from the sidewalk. Could be almost anything, really. You'll see what I mean. Tip number one. You see this little thing here? Well, this is a bit of a fake out. I don't know about you, but a lot of people don't have huge tables for Thanksgiving to sit all the people they want to sit, right? So if you take a look here, I don't know if you can see it, but that's my table. It's a little glass top table that probably sits about 6. Usually for big gatherings, 6 is usually not enough. My husband has a huge family he's the oldest of 6, so as you can imagine, that wouldn't work if we want to do Thanksgiving here. So what did I do for that? Well, this is something that I've ended up keeping here the whole year just because it's easier to store. I basically got a 4x8 piece of plywood, and as you can see, it's a good 3/4 inch thick plywood, so it's pretty durable. And because I really believe that oval tables are kind of magic in terms of being able to fit in as many people as you need, what I've done here is that I basically cut the edges at an angle. You can create any kind of angle somewhere, either just throw an arch. As long as you repeat it everywhere, it will look even, as long as it's the exact same arch in all 4 corners. So basically, and then you just take that arch and you tilt it and you draw it and you can cut it with the jigsaw. Anyway, the idea is that you create an oval. And once you have an oval, you can sit a lot more people on a table that has right angles. I've been able to sit almost like 12 people in this table. The base doesn't change. The base stays the same and nobody can see that this is here. And especially you don't tell people and it doesn't go like that. They might not be able to tell that, they might think it's a real wood table. We're not going to tell them, are we? So first thing, of course, is to get a tablecloth that's big enough to cover this. So that's going to be our first step. Okay, so we got a tablecloth on. Now next step is the runners. I like runners and I have quite a collection in all colors. The same thing as I have quite a collection of tablecloths because I like to change my table a lot, just for the fun of it. Okay, so this is a nice festive kind of orange, kind of goes with the season. And basically I'm just going to traditionally put it in the middle of the table, as is usually done. Now with runners, you know that you could put them either parallel to the tablecloth to this side, or you can also put them the other way. In this case, I'm going to layer a second runner. This is a runner that's made out of burlap that I made. You just cut a piece of burlap and you fray the edges. And it gives you kind of a natural edge to your runner. And because you're going through the threads, you don't have to worry about being straight. The threads are straight already, so that takes care of that. So this time I'm going to set the perpendicular runner, so to speak, to go with the place settings that will go on the farthest sides. Now we got there 2 sets of runners, the orange one and the 2 burlap ones, and in the middle, this is more to protect the table. Sometimes if you put like natural elements that might be a little bit messy, you might have some sap in them, you might get some sap on the tablecloth and you don't want that. So these are basically inexpensive Dollar Tree plastic placements, which actually, it doesn't matter a whole lot what they look like because you won't be seeing them by the time we're done, okay? Now comes the piece de resistance. Okay, well, let me explain first. We have a tree in the front. My husband decided he was going to prune it. So he cut it all up into chunks. When I saw those chunks, what I thought, I was like, ooh, that would be fun as a centerpiece. So if you can see what I've done, I basically have took a 2x4 and I've just basically have screwed in all the little pieces of trunk that he had in the pile. And I also sprayed him a little bit with a copper and silver just to give it kind of a bit of a different color. But you don't even have to do that. You could leave it like that. And I always have kind of scraps of wood around. So you'll see what this turns into. This goes in the center. Okay. So now we're on to step number 2. Because it is a 2x4, I want to cover it up as much as possible. And at home, again, depending on what base you use, it could just be styrofoam, it could be whatever. Usually the idea works just as well. Moss usually works wonders in hiding all of our problems. Okay, this next part is a little over the top. I recognize that, but if you want to go for it, you can do it. I happen to have these great lights, which I don't really use much, but I figured, hey, maybe this would be the time to use them. So again, this would work much better if it's a buffet table that maybe goes against the wall, because you don't have to worry about the cord. But in this case, I'm gonna try to make it work, and I'm just gonna work the lights around this thing and see what happens. Okay? Just make sure you got some in the front and the back and on the top and all that. The next step is to start doing some of this could be leaves, it could be pieces of floral, silk, flowers, anything autumn that you happen to have. This is where you're going to start adding it to kind of, again, cover up your gaps, hide the cords, all that kind of stuff. This is going to be what's going to fill it out. Okay, remember what I told you that some things you can find on the sidewalk? Well, look at these gorgeous leaves I found on the sidewalk from a tree that have just shedding them like crazy. So I thought, oh, I gotta use these. I didn't even realize they came so huge. Look at that. It's as big as my face. Isn't that crazy? Anyway, so I thought, how to use these? Well, the first thought I had was to basically tuck them under to create like a base. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm just going to tuck them under. And again, if you just have gourds or whatever you have in your center, and of course the bigger ones should go on the ends, you can put it under your gourds or what have you. So here's a bunch of stuff that I've just been saving through the years. Some of it's not looking so great anymore, but I like to try to keep it as long as possible and to give it as much life as possible. So now basically all we're going to do is to tuck in, like I mentioned. Try to think of your center. That's your focal point. I usually try to emphasize the center on both sides if you're able. And that's going to have a little bit of a heavier hand, you could say. And then you're going to go out from there, and as you go out from there, it's going to be smaller pieces. So always think almost like a triangle, okay? Your center is your focal point, it goes a little taller, and then it tapers away. And by the way, a good rule of thumb, if this is for a dinner, you don't want your centerpiece to be any bigger or any taller than your elbow to your wrist, basically, because you want to be able to talk to people when you're sitting down. If you go too tall, it's going to be like, oh yeah, oh, what do you say? Oh really? Okay. So you don't want that. So again, and this one pretty much kind of goes by that rule. As you can see, the highest point is over here. So we're keeping everything pretty low. I always think lighting is so important. And you could even add some candles. And in this case, because it's a long rectangular arrangement, I like to think of it, I mean, you could put one in the middle, to see what it looks like. And, but I like to think, again, emphasize the middle and the end. Okay, and then, remember how I mentioned that this would also work for a buffet? Well, I'm going to do a little extra step. Sometimes, you know, if it was a buffet especially, you know, a more height would be kind of desirable to make it a little bit more noticeable. So branches are great for that. And again, if you're lucky to have great branches on your yard, go get them. These are leftover for, actually no, these are actually for Christmas, but they happen to have purple. They look brown in the store, but they're actually purple glitter, if you can see that. But they work, like I said. This is like a burgundy kind of color. Or if you have leftover stuff from Halloween even. And again, with my little setup here, they usually kind of just tuck in place. I don't have to do a whole lot to them. I just, you know, between the moss and everything else that's here, they tuck in place. And I think it adds a little extra kind of pizzazz, a little extra glam to your table. Now, let's do the plates. In this case, I'm only going to set up a table for 6, but again, you could set up for 8, 12, whatever you decide. But right now, that's all I'm going to do. So, I've had these chargers for a long time. And again, I love using them for all kinds of things, you know, all different kinds of settings. But, you know, it's a nice kind of a, it's like a kind of a tan or wicker kind of charger. It kind of lends itself real well to a lot of different kind of feels. If you want to go tropical, if you want to go African safari, you know, or in this case, it's very rustic as well. Usually for Thanksgiving, I like to keep something somewhat rustic, which again helps with my trunks and things like that. So, so think about that. And also the good thing is that you can mix and match them, and sometimes people cannot tell. I actually have 3 different kinds because I didn't get them all at once. And because they all look sort of the same, you can't tell they're different. But I also want to mix and match them by alternating them. So that's one. The other one I have is similar, but different. It's this one. But again, once you put the plates on top, you can't even tell that they're different. But because I do know it, I'm going to alternate it, is what I do. So it just adds more interest. And if you wanted, you can even add placemats to this. Now the next thing is the plates. This, let me show you what I'm planning on doing. These are plates from the dollar store. I kind of like the colors. They have all the fall autumnal colors in them, and they also are pretty colorful. So that helps with my tablescape here, because that's the kind of colors that I have, a little bit of everything. And again, I don't have enough. I only bought 4 of those when I bought them, so I'm going to combine them with something else. So again, it's every other plate will be that. So this one will be that as well. But I'm going to combine it with something else. And I thought I would try something a little unexpected. You know, we know about all the autumnal colors or fall colors, but what about this one? It's usually not one you see, but I just love it with orange. Isn't it pretty? So pretty. And if you think, look at my plate, it actually has some blue in it. It's a different kind of blue, but you know, it sort of works. It's kind of the same kind of saturation of color, and I think that's why it works. And when you put it with everything, again, it all kind of fits well together. And I have this other little plate that I don't even remember where I got these, but they have them all fall colors, kind of the ochres, the burgundies, and they also have a little bit of blue. So it kind of helps tie it together. Again, it's not the same blue, but it doesn't matter. It all goes together. And now the napkins. I keep napkins real simple and kind of, you could say maybe a little old-fashioned. Remember, you take the napkin ring and you stuff them in through. The only thing that I've done differently is that I've done a double napkin. I happen to have some blue napkins. Those blue plates and these blue napkins are from IKEA, and I have bought them for my summer tablescape. And again, I have bunches of them, so I figure, hey, I can still keep using them. And these little napkin rings I bought a long time ago. I don't remember where, but I keep them every year, and I bring them out for Thanksgiving tablescape. So there. So 2 napkins, kind of bringing the whole color scheme together of the orange and blue. And this kind of continues the color scheme with the burgundies and the ochres and the other fall colors. And that completes my look for my tablescape. I like to keep them in the middle of the table because I think it makes them look festive. But again, you can put them in many places. You can do it, what people are doing nowadays, which is they're putting them under the plate. You can put them in the wine glass. And again, I don't have enough of the blues, so I've combined it. So some of the tables are going to get the orange and blue, double napkin. Some are gonna get the orange and this other napkin that I had. That's kind of a fall napkin with all the fall colors. And again, you would say so many colors are not gonna go together, but they go together, believe me. And now the next thing is I like to put some wine glasses, some water glasses. In this case, I'm only gonna show you the wine glasses. Again, these beautiful green little glasses from the dollar store, $1 a piece. You break one, you buy another one. Big whoopie-doo. But I've broken enough of them that I don't have enough to have 6, so I only have 4. So I'm going to combine them with this kind of more basic ones. So every other person will get the more basic one. Some people will get the green one, and some people will get the plain one. Here you get a close-up of the table setting. That's the one with the colorful plate and the napkin. Here you can see a little close-up of the trunk and leaves and grapes and everything else. You can see some of the metallic accents. Here is the second plate. Again, it's a blue plate with another colorful plate on top that repeats some of the colors. Here you get to see the full effect. And to show you that I did do the back, I'm also going to show you the back. Don't you love how the leaves turned out? And here is the back. And a lot of moss covering all the cords, all the little things we don't want people to see. All our mechanics. The screws, actually I even have some screws on my wood thing are noticeable, so I always have to make sure that the moss can cover them. And there you have it. A little Thanksgiving centerpiece for Thanksgiving coming up and for decorating over the Thanksgiving holidays. You know, don't feel free to leave it on a little longer than the day after Thanksgiving. It's okay. You know, I usually don't even think about decorating for Christmas until maybe the first or second week of December. So I usually like to have it for my birthday, which is the 15th. After that's a little late. But it's okay. Who says we have to rush Christmas, right? When Thanksgiving can be such a beautiful holiday too. So anyway, if you like what you saw today, this is my first tutorial, let me know. Put a comment down below, subscribe to my channel, and let me know if you have any questions about any of the particular items that I made, if you want more instructions, more specifics about how to get them done, because I think you can do it. You can definitely can. Okay, thanks and see you next time.